Ladies and gentlemen, is there not a cause for us to revive ourselves? Is there not a cause for us to start working? Is there not a cause? Because the chapters are declining. And if the chapters are declining and the numbers are going down, it means we are losing our potency. And the Lord said, if a sword loses its saltiness, what then shall be used to put it to salt again? Ladies and gentlemen, we would not like to be spilled out. So it is up to us to guide ourselves into action, to purpose in our heart, that at least we'll be able to invite someone to the fellowship meeting, even if it is a whole 2 years, 2 months, you've been able to invite even 1, 2 months. Just invite the person. Perhaps the Lord will touch the person. If 4 people purpose in their hearts, because Jesus has said in Mark 1:17 that follow me and I will make you fishers of men. I want people in the chapter who will say that we are the fishers of men who the Lord can rely on. Yes, we have many members in the chapters, but people who will purpose in their hearts that we will avail ourselves and make sure that every 2 months we'll be able to invite 1 person to the fellowship. In the beginning, at that time in 1885, Demon said, bring 2 people, 2 people. If we were doing the 2 people in the whole year, 2 persons in the whole year. But even now that we've not been able to succeed, if we have 4 months ahead of us, if 4 people will do 2 people each month before the end of the year, 4 months. So 4 times 4 will give you what? No, not 16. It will give you 32. In God's own equation, 1 plus 1 is 2. It's 1. And so in the same way, 4 people. Do we have 4 people here? 4 people. Can you come forward quickly? 4 people. I want 4 people. Ushers, 4. 1, 2. Yes, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not my time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So if these 4 people that have come have purpose in their chapter, one more. Have purpose in their chapters, that for the 4 months that we are left for the year to end, every month will bring in 2 people. So he goes to bring 2 people. He goes to bring 2. We don't have much time, but that will mean what? That will mean they will have brought in 8 people. If that same 8 people will also purpose to go out there and bring 2 people each, by the end of the year, we will have balanced the equation. The embarrassment we are finding ourselves as declining the chapters that the Lord have committed into our hands, the story will change. But what we need are people who will be committed to move out there. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Samesa. He always does things with passion. And he meant exactly what he said. I am just looking at chapter growth. And I'm looking at the simplicity of growing a chapter. That if you would target just not people too far, just the people who you work with and your family members and those you interact with on a regular basis, it will be quite a straightforward business. And I'm sure with the number we have, we would have doubled by the end of the year. If everybody was committed even to just 1 soul, there's no reason why we should be accounting for 20% or 30% increase. It has to be 100%, just 1 soul a year. And the standard is given in the operation manuals. It's simply 2 people, 1 believer and 1 unbeliever. It's just too hard. And that's the question I keep asking myself. And personally, that's what pushes me. And I'm not being theoretical. I'm somebody who is passionate about it, just like him. If we care about the Father's business, we have to ensure the business does not collapse. If it collapses, there is no source of revenue. There's no source of energy. There is no sustenance. The children's school fees will not be paid, and we would be found as illegitimate parents. So please, let's take it very seriously. Chapter growth. I know he was limited with time, so he couldn't go too far, but at least he deposited the message. We want to listen to another person. This time, he is a chapter president, and he has been responsible for chapter growth. And we want to see how he's been able to handle this in the last couple of years since that burden was placed upon his shoulder. And this gentleman is a very fine gentleman. He is an insurer by profession. He is a chartered insurer. He works for Vanguard Assurance Company Limited. He is the chief operating officer. He fellowships with the St. Catherine Catholic Church, and he is the chapter president of the Tesano chapter. He is married with children. He has only 2, and he still has work to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Franklin Ohene Adha.
Good afternoon. Hopefully I'm done with the 2. But we'll see what God will do. And I want to thank the Almighty God and the organizers for this opportunity. When you are put in between these accomplished men, it's an honor. Please, let's put our hands together for them. And so this afternoon, I'm just going to share 3 key things. 3 key things. I stand not to speak as somebody who has arrived. I believe that my journey is still in the commencement stages. But a few things that by the grace of God we have been able to achieve as a chapter president and together as a chapter coming from Tesano. So at the time I joined Tesano chapter, that was I was pinned in August 2016. The membership was about 60% retirees, and we had about 20%, about 20% who were younger than me. And those still within the working class would make about the rest 20%. But the first thing I decided for myself as an individual was to know God. Now, between August and then October, elections were conducted and I was made the secretary. I wasn't too sure what they saw. But as a person, I decided that I would not miss any seminar meeting. So I didn't miss one, not even one, between August and October when the elections were conducted. A year after being a secretary, I was elected the president of the chapter. Again, I wasn't too sure because in my mind, I wasn't ready. But there was one thing that I decided to do. Prayer. Now the second issue, or the second thing, I decided to do was to focus on the key, the critical, and the important things, not what is desired. What is key, what is critical, and what is important. And I'm going to explain. So, there were a few things that I had come to understand. Things like voice walk. Things like some directorates that as a chapter you should have. We tried a few voice walks. After the second one, I decided that this is not working for Tesano chapter. And so we will put voice walks on hold. I realized that as a chapter, we needed a lot more prayer-related issues. We needed a lot more programs that will speak to the very needs of our spiritual demands. So we started building programs around, those topics. And we started bringing in certain seasoned speakers like Alfred, Mr. Architect Langdon, Mr. Lomofio. And so we were very, very specific. Over time, what this did was that few people whom we invited personally could relate with the things that were being taught. And they were satisfied. So when they came, they stayed. Then they also started inviting other friends. Please, are we together? That was the approach. And it started picking up. It started working. So that gave us courage. Now, the second thing, or the third thing I decided to do was to focus on the well-being of our members. And ladies and gentlemen, you need to be passionate about this. You need to be passionate about this. And so I remember a member calling me, telling me how bad things are going for him. His business wasn't working well. His rent was due and everything. And it was bad. I said, you know what? I'm going to pray with you. We are going to fast and pray. I didn't say to him, fast and pray. I said, we are going to do it together. At the time, we had not started the midnight prayer, the midnight prayer activity. So we embarked on a 3 days fasting and prayer. I fasted with him. And at midnight, I would call him and we will pray together. And by the grace of God, few weeks after, things changed for him. And I quite remember a member joined. She missed a meeting, I think 2 consecutive meetings, and nobody followed up with her to find out what was wrong. Then I got the information that she was hurt by that. So I reached out, and the first thing I did was to apologize. What did that do to me? Anytime I go for chapter meetings, and I don't see anybody, between the time we close and the time I get home, I make sure I call them. Because by the following day, the pressure from work will make me forget. Even if it is 9 p.m., 10 p.m., they know that president will call you even up to 12 midnight. So I was intentional about their growth. They will share with me certain personal things. It doesn't go out. It stays with me. When we have to form a team to pray, I will ask them, do you mind if I share this with person A or person B? Because I can vouch for their integrity, so that we pray together. And we will stand and pray. Ladies and gentlemen, every time God has come through. And so these personal experiences cause them to have hope, faith, and love in the fellowship. And they in turn brought their friends. The last point. Ladies and gentlemen, as a president and as a leader, you have to choose skilled men. And you need to do it prayerfully. Prayerfully. Now, here I am not referring specifically to executives. No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that you would have to make certain decisions. A man cannot work alone. A leader cannot work alone. But there is a need for you to communicate your vision and what you want to achieve to a team of people beyond your executives. It is a way of bringing everybody together. And this must be done prayerfully. And so at a point, our prayer director went to be with the Lord. And we had to appoint a new prayer director. Options came. People spoke to me about various people. I said, unless God has spoken, I will not move. So for over a year, I had to double up as a prayer director. So we stayed a year until God spoke. And by the time that person was appointed, he told me, he came to me personally and said, Mr. President, if you had come to me earlier, I would have turned you down. But God has spoken to me too. And so we need to be very, very specific about the kind of people we choose to help drive the agenda. And a lot of these things are also situated within the directories or the committee systems that we have. So as I wrap up, my experience as a president, one, you need to be prayerful. Two, you should have a call to membership directorate, to the membership directorate. You should take interest in the well-being of your members. And the last point, understand that you are not a perfect person. You will make mistakes. But when you do, be humble enough to apologize. I have stood before my members several times, and I have openly accepted my flaws, and I have apologized. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Franklin. I can see some chapter presidents and potential chapter presidents nodding and saying, yes, we agree with you. As I was sitting there, I could see in the faces of some people saying, Sam Mensah, we know. Franklin, we know. But you, who are you? My name is Willie Orhin. I'm a life member of the fellowship. I am a servant of the international office in the capacity of regional vice president at large, and I'm a beach man. If you don't find me anywhere, come to the beach. You find me. Thank you. We want to listen to yet another very interesting presentation. And the man to speak, I have personally titled and given a nickname, Mr. Full Gospel. And you will know why in a moment. He is, by profession, a business executive. He is into lands and properties. If you're looking for a house at Trazacuco Valley, please see him through me for a little commission to be charged. He is also, in terms of FGBMFI, a field representative and a national protocol officer. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Francis Addo to the podium.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Lord is good. The Lord is good. Thank you for the opportunity, the organizers of our regional convention. Thank you, elders, for giving me the opportunity to share this in the next 10 or 12 minutes. My topic for discussion this afternoon is marketing Christ in the marketplace. Marketing Christ in the marketplace. And I pray that, you will listen to what I'm sharing with your hearts, because it's coming from my heart. If you watch me, I'm not holding any paper, neither am I holding anything to share from. I'm sharing from my heart. So I pray you listen and listen with your hearts. Marketing Christ in the marketplace. It has cost me my life to share what I'm sharing with you. And for me, this is what makes a difference in the marketplace. I pray that all of us will pick the little I'm sharing to add to what you know, that indeed you make a difference in the marketplace. And I must confess that I learned all the things I'm coming to share with you in this fellowship. I didn't learn it in a university or at Cambridge. I will share a 2-minute testimony of myself. But before I do that, what is the marketplace? What is the marketplace? It's a question I want to help you answer. What is the marketplace? When we say the marketplace, what do we mean? Do we mean to say Makwala or Kaishi? Or what do we mean by saying the marketplace? My definition of the marketplace is simply where the values of Christ is exchanged for the souls of men in the context of full gospel. Don't forget, we are evangelistic. And actually, I'm looking at our first mission statement, to reach men in all nations for Jesus Christ. Where and what is the marketplace? I'll repeat myself. The marketplace is where we exchange the values of Christ for the souls of men. It's not necessarily the church in this context. It's not necessarily a religious place. It's a place me and you are used to as businessmen. Is not necessarily a church. It's the everyday places that we go. It's the everyday places that we transact our business and our lives. That's what we call the marketplace. And how do we market Christ in the marketplace? It's a big question that we will need to answer ourselves this afternoon. How? And that's where I'll share my testimony in 3 minutes. I came to this fellowship as an accomplished Christian, as I thought that I had, as a businessman and as a Christian, I had received Christ and I had married And by 27 years, I was married, wedding, proper one, Christian one. By 31 years, I have 4 children. By 31 years, I have 4 children. It doesn't mean there were twins in it. It doesn't mean I went on super speed. But what I'm trying to say is that the Lord blessed me, and I was doing my business, and I was a successful businessman. And I was more also a charismatic believer. I could speak in tongues, I could cast demons, I could heal the sick, and I was heaven bound. And I thought I had achieved. And I was very, very, very confident of my faith. It was around this time that my life crashed. I don't want to call it a tsunami, but I think it was. I lost my business, I lost my marriage, and I could not take care of my children, and my wife left me unceremoniously. Quickly, I went, within a matter of a year or two, I was the type who could not live without marriage. In a matter of 2 years, I quickly married again. In 7 years, it also collapsed on me. It was so bad, and I was so depressed that I went to sleep on a church compound in East Legon where I lived. At a point, I felt like killing myself. And that is when somebody invited me into this fellowship. And when I came into this fellowship, I was shocked as a believer to see the love and the care and the consent I received in the fellowship, particularly in my chapter. And I tell you, within a short while, because of that love, I haven't seen that type of love before, though I was a Christian for a long time. But the love these members showed me, because I didn't qualify. I was not a businessman. I've lost my business. I didn't have a family. I didn't have anything that is worth calling me a full gospel member. But yet, these people took me on, just like one of them. And I tell you, oh, clap your hand, clap your hand. This is the place where my life took on purpose. This is the fellowship that gave me life again. This is the place where I discovered my purpose. This is the place I must say I found life again. And for the past 15 years, I have never been the same. I have fallen in love with this fellowship to the extent that is what I eat, that's what I drink, and that's what I sleep on. Though I'm a businessman, I sell lands and properties, I do not advertise. All my businesses come from this fellowship because of the love, because of the care. And more also, I must confess, I have rolled my sleep since I found love here, and I've been working like a crazy man, for lack of a better word, for Christ's sake. This is a place where I realize that it is rather what I can give to God than what I can take that matters. What am I saying? I had always thought that God owned me because I was a good giver, I was a good Christian, so God should bless me. But I have found out in this fellowship, it's not rather so. It is what I can give back to God after all that He blessed me with that mattered. It is rather what He has deposited in me that He was looking for an opportunity through this fellowship to bring out. But I had taken it the other way around, that God should bless me or God must bless me. And it was not forthcoming, so I was disappointed. What am I saying? We have a responsibility to bring men and women back to God. But how does it happen? It doesn't happen through your chapter or through your church necessarily. It starts with you. It starts with you. It starts with you, and I mean it. It started with me. And all of a sudden, I found an attitude that was trained to myself, that I love people, I love souls, and I just wanted to be a blessing to anybody I came or I come across. That was not the me that I knew. But as I came to this fellowship and I received love, though I had lost everything that I thought was worth calling sources, but I gained life again. I found myself working in this fellowship, and much more, I discovered my purpose. What do I mean by I discovered my purpose? I discovered that the Lord had given me passions to call men back to Him. I realized that it's not about my chapter president, neither is it about my national president. It's about what I can do. And what do I mean by what I can do? I realized that when we say calling men back to God, it's not by quoting scriptures to them and telling them that, hey, come and receive Christ, otherwise you go to hell. All of a sudden, I realized that it has to do with having a God-like or a Christ-like attitude towards men. I realized that it has to do with loving men unconditionally. I realized that just by having the characteristics of the kingdom, talking about excellence, talking about integrity, talking about kindness, talking about godliness, actually, all of a sudden, the fruits of the Spirit made sense to me. I'm not talking about the gift of the Spirit. Those of you who are matured know the difference. I had become a transformed man by my character, by my attitude. Though God is still working on me, but I'm a far better Christian. And through that, now I have realized my purpose, that it's not to sit down and be asking God to give me things, but rather to go out there and love men unconditionally. Love men just as they are, not judging them with my so-called, as I used to be, achievement, but seeing them just as they are and loving them as God will love them. Seeing them as God will see them. What am I saying? Marketing Christ in the marketplace simply means that you have to have the attitude of Christ. If Christ was in your situation, or if Christ was in your office, how will He have seen people? How will He have behaved towards men? How will He have connect with men? I've realized again, Mr. William used to say this, I did not take it serious, that this fellowship is about men. It's about the Holy Spirit transforming men. It's not necessarily about our big cathedrals and church and all of that. It's about how you can touch the life of men, and through your life, they will be drawn to Christ. Sometimes we'll call people and say, oh, come to my chapter, come to my church, oh, come and see my pastor. I've understood that it's not about coming to see anybody. Come and if you meet me, you will meet Christ. Because I will show you the character of Christ. If you haven't done your morning devotion and you meet me, maybe you don't need to do it again. Because even if it's 2 minutes I'm spending with you, I will, as much as is in my power, let you receive that which is of Christ. What am I saying? We are the ambassadors of Christ in the marketplace. Don't wait for anybody to draw men to your chapter. It's you. The places you go, don't say, come. Yes, you virtually invite them to your chapter, but let them see the Christ in you through your kindness, through your unconditional love. I am deliberate about that. Every day I'm going out, I have invitation cards in my pocket, and I say, Lord, whoever I meet today is meant for your kingdom. And so I don't just walk out going to look for money as a businessman and come home. No. The first reason why I'm going out is that I am on divine assignment as his ambassador. And I'm always looking for opportunities to call men back to God. I'm talking to you. I'm talking about the fact what I have received through this fellowship, how I'm transformed through this fellowship. It didn't happen in America. It didn't happen in some big church. It is this same fellowship we have all found ourselves in. That is where I got this transformation. I want to encourage you that, look, for our chapters to be full again, for us to really market Christ in the marketplace, have to start with ourselves. And it starts by being conscious that you've been sent to the marketplace to draw men to Christ, not to make money alone, but to be deliberate about drawing men to Christ through your character, through your unconditional love, through your kindness, through your godly attitude. You have to be deliberate. You have to be intentional about that. Don't just walk in to make business and walk in to come and sleep, and then Saturdays come to a breakfast meeting and say, I'm drawing my men to Christ. It's your everyday walk with Christ in the marketplace and knowing for certain that you have been called to the marketplace to draw men to Christ through your godly, through your lovely attitude. God bless you.
Thank you. I mean, how many of you can feel the passion? See, the more I drew closer to him, the more he drew closer to the crowd. As if he was coming to witness to you and get you to focus. I could feel him drawing closer and closer. Let's give him a hand. You know, one thing Francis didn't touch on, and I would look for an opportunity for him to tell me. I want to know what he tells those big men for them to follow him to his chapter. He is an expert in that. He's been bringing some big men in society to his chapter. And I think it's a strength that he has. We can learn from that. And I want to draw closer and learn from him. It's very possible. Francis, you still have a lot to share, I know, but I needed to come in because of time. Shall we give it to him again? I have a few announcements. I'm told that Aliza Hotel, it's giving 20% discount for those who want to eat in the restaurants. 20% discount. That's for those who, when there's a little break, can go very quickly and have a bite. Also, the breakfast meeting on Saturday, tickets are really running out. Very few tickets remain. Somebody you may want to attend may not be here. Please buy it for the person so that the person doesn't lose the opportunity. It is 300 cedis. 300 cedis. It's going to be a very good breakfast. So please make sure you are counted among the number. At this stage, I want to call on the praise and worship team. They will give us one hot praise as we transition into the next session. But before we leave the stage, I want you to give these wonderful gentlemen a round of applause. All right, so over to you, praise and worship team. We're going to get into the delegates meeting. So the president, the national president of the fellowship in Ghana, Mr. Baba Mahama, would take the stage after the praise and worship team with his team. So please go ahead and give us some songs of praise. Thank you.